Alright, good morning guys. Yeah, I think it's morning. It's about 9:36 a.m. here. Okay, so today we are going to be looking at the Python string data type. Let me really show. Yeah, that's what we are doing. Okay, yeah, this is what we are going to do today. I plan on making two videos. The first is going to be on Python string data type. We'll consider a few methods supported by the Python string data type, and then I think I'll make another video later that's detailing we are going to analyze a program and then look at basically all the individual components that make up the program. So without further ado, let's get started. Oh, so you see, this here yesterday I kind of tried to get a new headset and I was hoping to get one with a good mic, and then I got this, and honestly the speakers are nice, but then the the mic is kind of terrible. Honestly, it sounds like you are speaking from outside when it's just right here. So I think I'm just gonna drop it and I'll continue using my PC's mic for this week, I think, and hopefully I'll get a good mic maybe from next week. So as I said, we're going to analyze Python string data type. So let me quickly go into Python. So I'm in my Python interpreter right now. So far, we've known that when we declare a variable, for example, this, let's say state, okay, let's say name is equals to Tahir. All right. So I believe that we should all know by now that that's if you have watched the previous videos and the previous steps that I've been asked to follow, you should all know by now that this is a string, right? Dahir Muhammad Dahir is a string. So and basically in Python, anything that is contained within a single quote or a double quote is what is a string. So we're assigning this variable, we're assigning Dahir Muhammad Dahir to this variable name. So we now know that name itself is also a string. And to confirm that, there's a function in Python called type. So you use this when you want to find out of what type a specific um either variable or some value in Python is. So you could do this Python, sorry, you could do type the name in Python. So it's telling us that this is the name is belongs to the class str. So you don't need to worry about the class that's been mentioned here. What we are interested in here is str, and this str is basically short for string. So it's telling us the name as a variable actually is of the type str. So what does that even mean? What is str in Python? So at this moment, I would like to show you something that's really important. In fact, it's probably one of the most important things you're going to come across in Python, and understanding it and knowing how to use it properly will probably make your journey in Python less hectic, I think, if I may say. And that's nothing but help. Yes, using help in your Python interpreter. So you could do something like this, help. So help is also, I can say, a built-in function in Python. And then when you pass in any value that is known to Python, it gives you information about that value that you put in. So let's say, or any keyword or whatever it is. So let's just say for in this case, let's just say str. We're asking Python to help us with the str class. What does it mean, or what does it do? We want to know more about it. So we type enter, we hit enter, and then it's bring up this stuff, class str object, a lot of things. It says create a new string from object given, but I believe you can already guess. So this is not the part that interests me for this part of the tutorial. There's something else. I'm interested in the methods that are supported um by Python string. So you keep scrolling down, you keep hitting enter, and for now you shouldn't worry about all of these methods, the ones you are seeing here, like all this underscore, underscore mode. They're important, but for now you should forget about them. What we're interested in is from this point where you stop seeing all those underscores. You're not interested in that. You're interested in this. So you scroll down, that is hitting enter, until you start seeing stuff like this, like capitalize, caseful. These are normal methods supported by Python. And now this is our area of interest for today's tutorial. So there are a lot of them, a lot of methods supported by the Python string. And we can, if we keep hitting enter, you see a lot of them. So what I want to do today is give you a basic idea and try to analyze them so that you get a basic understanding of how you can use help to view various methods of various Python data types, and how you can read the documentation and then try to implement what they do. So there are a lot of them, and I don't want to go through everything. So for now, you type Q if you want to quit, and then you get back to the Python interpreter. So let's try that again. Help str. All right. So the first normal method we see. So by the way, a method, in case if it's not clear, and yeah, I don't even think it's going to be clear, especially to most beginners. A method basically is like a function for now. You can think of it like a function that is supported by that data type you are working with. So basically, um, string methods are those functions that are available for that are available by the string data type in Python. So you will usually see things implemented like this. Well, okay, let's see. You've probably seen something like this. If you've watched the previous tutorials, you'll have seen like, let's say name is equals to, let's say PythonWithTahir. And you might have seen something like this, name dot split maybe, or name dot strip, something of this sort. Now this dot here and this split here now is a method that is supported by whatever data type is this, you understand? So in this case, name is actually a what, a string, Tahir Muhammad, contain Tahir Muhammad. So what we're trying to say is that Python should invoke the method split, which is supported by name. So if the name which basically is actually a string in this case, if it has any method called split, or if it supports a method called split or strip, then Python will invoke that method and then it will carry out whatever it is that it's supposed to do. And basically it's just like calling a function, just like the way you will call a function normally. So basically you will call the function strip, and whatever it's contained within the strip function will be carried out. All right, so I hope that's clear, but I think the best way to explain this is just probably to just start using the methods and see. So basically you can just think of methods as functions for now, but when we get to object-oriented programming classes, you will get to understand more what methods really are. So what we're seeing here is that all of these are methods supported by strings. So we're going to start going through them and then see what that even means. So let's have a few strings. Let's say state is equals to let's say Kaduna. Let's say planet is equals to Earth. Let's say um, yeah, I think that's fine. So let's start checking on the capitalize method. The capitalize method is saying that return a capitalized version of the string. More specifically, make the first character have uppercase and the rest lowercase. What does that mean? It's saying that whatever string you pass in to the capitalize function or method, it will return a capitalized version of it, meaning that the first letter or the first character will be capitalized and then the rest will still be lowercase. So let's do that. Let's try that. Let's see. Let's say state dot capitalize. Let's say print state dot capitalize. All right. As Control B. Alright, I use Control B to build, or you could go to Tools and then Build. It's all the same. Alright, so you see, initially we pass in the input Kaduna with small letter M, but then here we're getting Kaduna with the first case capitalized. Sorry, the first character capitalized. So this is what it does. It actually returns a string where the first character is a capital letter. So we go to So basically, you might try to think, what's the point of all this? Why should we be interested in doing this? So imagine a scenario whereby maybe you have a string that you want to pass and you want to perform various operations on it. So these methods are already pre-built for you in Python and giving you the chance or giving you basically saving your time that you don't have to go reinventing the wheel from scratch. Like assuming you want to let's say you want to count the number of strings, number of characters in a Python string. Now let's look at this. There's another method called count. So let's try that. Let's say print state dot count. Okay, so imagine you want to count the, let's see, what does the count method says? See, it says s dot count. That's basically s here is a string you want to invoke the method on, and it says it takes in one compulsory argument, which is this sub, and then it takes in two optional arguments, start and end. So whenever you see an argument, like in a method signature like this, and you see an argument in square bracket, basically that means the argument is optional. So you can pass in the compulsory sub, and this sub here means substring. You can pass in the compulsory substring argument, and then you have an optional start or end of the in the part of the Python string you intend to work with. So let's see what that actually means. So let's say we want to count the number of A in this string. So we could do something like this, A, and then we can hit build and it returns 2. Alright, so we actually have 2 A's in this string, right? This is the first one and this is the second one. So it's telling us that we have 2 A's. So it's have counted the number of A's we have in the string. Now if we remove this and put K, do Control B, it's telling us that we have 1. Right? So let's come back here and look at this again. It says s.count. It takes two arguments. Sorry, it takes a single argument and then it returns an int. So when you see this arrow here like this pointing to something, it implies that this is what the function or the method returns. So in this case, the count method takes in one compulsory or one it takes a single argument and two other optional arguments, and then it returns in an int. That's what it's saying here, and basically an int is just a number, integer basically. So it returns 1 here in this case. All right. Okay, so let's try passing the start and end argument, and let's see how that works. And let's create a kind of longer string. Let's say some text is equals to time is one thing we all to have. All right, and there's a longer string, and I think it's going to be more interesting to work with. Let me comment this out. So we can say some text dot count. Let's say count t. Right, let's say count t. So control B. All right, sorry, I didn't put it in the print. Control B, Control S, Control V. All right, it's telling us that we have only one instance of t, and as we can see here, we have two, right? 1, 2. So that means that the count method is case sensitive. So if we also change this to t, capital letter T, and then that's uppercase, and Control S, Control B, also have 1. So it's actually telling us that the count method is a case sensitive method. So depending on the case you pass, it will analyze whether you have how many instances of that substring we actually have in the string. So let's try something else. Let's change this to I. Okay, Control S, Control B. All right. T. Sorry, so we have 1, 2, 3, and it returned 3. So basically, we have 3 eyes in this text. So the next thing we shall do, let me show you how to use the optional argument of start and end. So imagine a situation whereby we don't want to start counting from the beginning of the string. Let's say we want to start counting from this point instead of starting from the beginning of the string. So in this case, all right, so let's do this. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's say we want to start counting from 5 downwards. So you just pass in an optional argument 5. Sorry, pass in an optional argument 5, and then there's an optional end. Or if you don't want to pass it, you don't have to pass it also. So we're saying that if you don't pass the optional end argument, so it's going to just start counting from our parameter. Basically, most of the times you find me saying argument. Basically, I'm just trying to refer to the parameter that the function takes. So any of those actually goes fine. So let me run this. Control B. So now instead of returning 3, it returns 2, and that means it's just counting from this point 1 and 2. So actually have just 2 eyes in this string. In this string, if we start counting from the 5th character. So let's say we start counting from here. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's say we start counting from 15. Press Control B. So it returns 0. That is, it discards everything from the beginning to this point. So basically, it starts counting from here, and considering this point to the end, we have no occurrence of I. So it returns that there's 0 occurrence of the letter I in the substring. So then we can also pass an optional end parameter. So let's say start counting from 5 and end at, let's say, 7. Control S, Control B. So it returns I. It just return just one. In this case, we have only one instance of I, that is here. So if we start counting from here and stop here, we get only a single instance of the letter I. So basically, this can be very useful in different cases where you want to count the occurrence of a certain substring within a string. And this is not limited to just a single character. You could go in, for example, you could do this. Let's say, let's remove this like optional parameters. You could actually find how many times time occurs in this string. So we'll Control S, Control B, and it says 1. And probably let's make this better. Let's kind of change the string. Let's put something more interesting. Let's say long ago is 4 nations. It's 4 nations. I can't type this morning. Live together in harmony. Then everything changes when the Fire Nation attacks. Right. Let's see. Right. Alright, this is fine. Let's try to find how many times the word long appears within the string. Control S, Control B. It says 2. Basically counting this and then this. Let us create some very random string. So let's see how many times does the word live appears in the string. Control S, Control B. It says 1. How many times does the character L appears? Control S, Control B. It says 3. As this and this. I think that's enough for count. Sorry. Let's check out another method supported by the Python string. Alright, the ends with. This is also a very interesting one. And this, it says return true if S ends with the specified suffix, false otherwise, with optional start and test. Okay, test S beginning at that position, with optional end. Stop comparing at S at that position. So basically what this method does is that it takes the string that you pass in and it checks if it ends with a certain suffix that you provide, that is as your parameter, and if it does, then it returns true, but if it doesn't, it returns false. And we think, what's the point of this? We imagine a situation whereby you're trying to analyze files. Maybe you want to check if the file extension ends with a certain let's say you want to check if the extension of a certain file ends in a ends with, let's say, a.exe or the txt, or let's say you're just trying to find a file with a certain extension. So, and you have a lot of lists of files and you want to go through all of them and then find all the files that end with txt. This could be very helpful. So let's try this out. Let's say file name is equals to let's call this let's say some file that HTML, for example. Yeah. Address. I'll have to comment this out. Alright, so we have some string that ends with HTML. Now what we want to do is print file name that ends with .html. Now if that string file name actually ends with the suffix that's HTML, then this will return true, otherwise it will return false. So let's Control S, Control B, try to build. Okay, say it says true. That basically means that the file name string ends with that HTML suffix. And now if we try to change this, let's say that's HTMLZ or something like that. Let's try running that and see. Control B. It's saying that file name does not end with that. That's false. So this doesn't have to be actually a file extension. It could be anything. Let's say text equals to nothing. Alright, nothing is true. Alright, let's check if this ends with letter E, suffix E. So say E ends with E. And since it does, by expecting this to return true. Control B. Alright. Oh, interesting. It's saying okay, we're testing for file name instead of text. Let's test for text. For S. Test for text. Alright, it's saying true. The string ends with letter E. So basically, there's no limitation to what you can do, and you could do something like this. Let me try something. Nothing is true itself. Control S, Control V. It's saying true. So you see, you could pass the whole string, and it checks if it ends with that, it returns true. If you try something like time, for example, to return false, Control S, Control V. That's false because the text doesn't end with that. So basically, this start checking from the end if all matches. That is, if it matches the substring, the suffix we're passing from the end, it starts checking, and then if it's true, it returns true, otherwise false. So basically, you could use this for a lot of things. You could use it to check file extension. You could use it to check if a certain strings and ends with something, or basically whatever it is that you want to do. Alright, so the next thing we're going to look at is let's see anything interesting here. Slower. Alright, let's try the slower method. The next thing is let's specify a string. Alright, let's still use the text value. So what I want to check in this case is what is this slower method? It says return true if the string is a lowercase string, false otherwise. So imagine you are working in a situation where you want to check if what the user input passes is all in lowercase or all in uppercase. So you could easily do this, and basically allowing you to be able to see if what the user passing is what you're expecting. So we could simply just do this, something print text that is lower, and then Control S, Control B. It says true. I just this text here, nothing is true. It's all lowercase. And let's try adding a simple uppercase letter. Control B. It says false. Even a single uppercase character makes the check false. So basically, you could use this to check if something is lowercase or uppercase. That is, if a certain string contains all lowercase or all uppercase. And basically, this a corresponding is upper, I believe. Let's try that. Although I'm not sure. Let's try to check in that. Control S, Control B. I think I'm wrong. So let's forget about that for now. I think we get something similar at the bottom. It's numeric. Okay, the next one we should check. We'll likely check is numeric. So let's specify another string. Let's say some numbers. 2. 10, 25, 30, 41. Right. Control S. Oh, alright. Now I want to check if some number is all numeric and nothing else, nothing less. So we could go something like this: some number that is numeric. So it says that it's numeric returns true if the string is numeric string, false otherwise. Let's try that and see. Control S, Control B. It says true. Now some number is numeric. But imagine if we pass in a single A, either in the beginning or at the end or anywhere in the string, and try running Control S, Control B, it says false. That is, it's numeric, it's not false if there's even a single string within it. Sorry, a single non-numeric character within it. So Control B is still true. All right. It's title. It's upper. All right. Actually, there's this upper string. Let's try that. Let's see. So we have this upper here. Let's check what that does. Return true if the string is an uppercase string, false otherwise. Print. Okay, let me comment this out. Print text that is upper. Press Control V. It says false. Why? Because this whole string is not uppercase, just the last character is uppercase. So let's try it different. Let's see some opera text goes to let's call this just some some upper string. Let's try this with some upper text. Control S, Control V. It says true. It is all the it's checking here and it's returning true because all the characters here, all the letters here are actually uppercase. So and I think so basically if you can see the string here, it actually ignores the white space and just check all the characters if they're uppercase. Let's just try passing a single lowercase character and see what happens. Press Control B, it says false. So unless if everything is uppercase, then we get false. Otherwise, it's true. I think this is going to be interesting. Let's check the lower method. Now it says return a copy of the string converted to lowercase. Now this method actually takes in the string we pass in and then it returns a copy of it, but all lowercase, assuming there's an uppercase there, it's converted to lowercase character. So let's try that here and let's say print some opera text dot lower. Alright, Control S, Control V. Alright, imagine how awesome this is. It takes in everything and just converts it to lowercase words. So there are many special scenarios whereby you will want to do things like this, and you'll get to see more of it once we start writing programs or analyzing some real life situations, and you get to see situations whereby you want to convert things to lowercase or uppercase or otherwise. So you see just some upper strings. Now everything here that is in uppercase is now in lowercase. I think I'll probably look at two more before we end this. Replace. Aha, I think that's also interesting, really interesting one. Okay, so imagine we want to replace some string with another string. Like just you want to replace some text with another text. So in this case, it says return a copy with all occurrence of the substring old replaced by new. So basically, this replace method takes in two arguments: the old and the new. That is what you want to replace and what it should be replaced with. Let's try this. Um, so dumb text. All right. So old, good, bad. Good. All right. I think that's fine. So let's say we want to replace all copies or all instance of good in the string. What do we do? Could easily run. Sorry, I didn't want to remove that. I'll just have to comment it out. Okay, so I have something like this. Print dump text that replace. Okay, so we pass in the old. What we want to replace in this case is a substring good with substring bad. Yep. So control B. Alright, look at what we have here. Old bad, bad bad, small bad, new bad. Alright. So all instances of good have been replaced with the word or with the substring bad. How awesome. So imagine a situation whereby you are taking a user input, for example, and you want to strip all nasty characters or things you don't want to pass in, or you want to filter out things. You could use the replace as a way to blacklist some input. And let's look at one or two more. Okay, I think we'll have to look at the split. It's also one of the most used Python string, I think. Sorry, Python methods. Sorry, I don't know why I'm not myself this morning. I kept missing words. It's probably because I'm not comfortable in this place. Alright, let's have this. So we want to split some text. Okay, let's see what it says it does. Return a list of the words in the string using sep as the delimiter. So basically it takes in a compulsory argument sep, and then it returns the string separated by that character. And I think this is simply easier written than explained. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So imagine we have a string here. Let's say list of items. List of items equals to rice, chicken, fish, goat. Right. Interest. Now let's say we want to separate this into actual lists. That is the list type in Python. So and we want to separate it based on the comma here. So this can easily be done. So this is actually a string at this point. I want to convert it to list and then separate it based on the commas. As we want to have rice as a single item in the list, and then chicken as a single item, and then fish as another item, and then goat as another item in the list. So we'll have something like this. List items, or let's say print list items that split We want to split by what? By what character do we want to split? By comma. Control S, Control B, and there we go. We have rice, chicken, fish, goat all separated into a Python list now. Now this is actually a list and no longer a string. All right. Okay, I'll have the strip method. I think this is going to be the last method we're going to analyze for this video tutorial. The strip. So imagine a situation whereby you want to remove some string at the beginning and at the end of any some substring at the beginning and at the end of a string. So basically, let's say you have a text that starts with some character and ends with it, and you want to remove it completely. So you could do something like this. So let's say we have a string like nasty text. So some text like this. Let's say we have this, and you want to remove all the instance of asterisks in the text. So you could go, let's comment this out, and then you could do something like this. Let's see, sorry, print nasty text. Let's strip. What do we want to strip? We want to strip all the asterisks from the beginning and the end of the string. There you go, Control S, Control B. Alright, imagine just completely remove the asterisks from the beginning and the end of the string. So there are a lot of instances where you want to remove white space and stuff like that. So let's say we have also, instead of this, let's copy this. Let's copy this. Control C, Control V. Let's call this str text, and let's say we have a lot of white space within the string. Alright, and we want to strip it off completely. So we could do something like this. Instead of passing the asterisk, we'll just pass white space, and then let's change this to str underscore text, and then Control S, Control V. Now also it's just okay, to show you that it has been removed, let me try printing str text here. Str text, Control S, Control V. Alright, so you see this is the first one that is printed in str text without removing the white space, and you see, look at what we have here. White space is showing. But for this one that we have stripped the white space, we have nothing. So basically, I think this brings us to the end of this tutorial, and I believe that we've analyzed a few methods supported by the Python string, and that there are a lot of them. I encourage that you go through and check out what they do. They will make your life really easy when you're working with strings on Python. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.